Welcome to our webinar on continuing education presented by Member 365. Hello, I'm your host, Christine Bundy. I'm the Customer Success Manager at Member 365, and today I'm going to be walking through continuing education with you for today's agenda. So first thing that we're going to do is go through a couple definitions just so you can understand our terms versus what you would associate with them. And then we're going to go through how to configure your continuing education settings, and then how do you attach it to a membership. Finally, we're going to show you how to add activities both as an admin and as a member, so you and your members can know how to do that. And then we'll go through some best practices. So first, let's go through definitions. So first, what is continuing education? I do get asked this quite often, and it's for individuals or associations that have a certification or designation that needs to be tracked based off of hours or credits. Either works, so hours or credits, and it just allows you to track the activities that you've earned in order to get your certification or designation. So that's what CE is within our program. Within our program, we also have things called levels. So levels are like categories in which you can have activities gathered together where you can have maximums or minimums to ensure that members complete various activities. So you could have a level for on-demand webinars that the members can attend. You can have another level for in-person activities or network meetings. You could have another one for online quizzes that they take or videos that they watch. So you could have different levels and then set minimums or maximums to how many they can earn that will accumulate to their total credits earned and are eligible for being assigned to their certification or designation. So levels are the way for you to group activities in order to ensure that they're not just doing all online videos, they're also maybe taking some quizzes, and they're maybe taking some webinars. So they're getting a little bit more of a variety, and they're not just doing that one thing all the time to earn those credits. So in addition to levels, we then have, oh, and this is how you would then, so for levels, this is what I was talking about. So you have the different types of levels, and this is what appears on the member portal for a member. The admin can also see this in the CRM on the contact record. And so you can have the different levels. You can have minimums or maximums, what they can actually accumulate. So what are they eligible for earning? And then how that goes towards their total required credits. So this just helps you kind of break down and understand what I was talking about with those levels. And we'll get into this when we get into the software. Then we have an activity. So an activity is a task that the member completes for a duration of time to earn hours or credits. So whether your designation requires they get like 10 hours or 10 credits, it's the same thing. It just determines how you internally designate that. So our system has the ability to track hours or track credits. So you can decide on how that is, and we can show you. But again, it's just a task they complete and allows them to track it as well as you within the platform. So those are our definitions. So now let's jump into Member 365 and do the configuration. All right, so I'm in the Member 365 CRM admin dashboard. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go up to modules, and we're going to go to what we call education is the CEU tracker. So this can be changed, by the way, within the system. It is a premium module. So if you are not paying the $99, you will not see it. It is not enabled under your basic subscription. It is an add-on to your subscription. So if you aren't seeing this within your modules or your configuration settings, it's because it has not been purchased yet. So if you are interested in purchasing it, please let our team know. We'd be more than happy to turn it on for you. It is on a $99 additional fee on a monthly basis, but we can change the name of it as well. So we have lots of associations that either have it called certifications, CEU tracker, volunteer hour trackers for volunteer groups that use it. So anything along those lines, we can relabel it if you like, but it is for tracking your CE units and continuing education. Then let's go down, and we are going to go all the way down to settings. And we're going to go to configuration and hit manage. So in here is where you're going to determine what is visible for creating an activity. So what you as an admin have to fill out, what a member has to fill out, and then what the different options are for them. So let's go through these just kind of one by one. So the first rule is, do you want to allow members to be able to remove their own activities? So maybe you post one and then I was like, oh, I didn't do that. That's a mistake. Are they going to be allowed to remove it in the member portal? Yes or no? I always recommend having this on. People are going to remove activities. They're going to remove them for a reason. You don't necessarily have people removing them without a good reason for doing so. And sometimes they might have added one by mistake and need the ability to remove it. Approval process. So within the system, if a new activity is created, so a member can log into the portal and there's a button to create a new activity, you can approve it to make sure that it fits the requirements. It was done by a third party that is known to you and meets the criteria for earning those credits or hours. And then after it's approved, then it can be visible to other members to be able to select within the activity list for them to say, hey, I did this already, and here's when and how. So that is available. You can also then allow members to enter the credit amount. So if you want to give them the option to edit, well, it took 2 hours because you're using hours, or 2 hours equals 2 credits, so it's 2 credits. You can do that, or you can simply have it off, and during the approval process, the admin can adjust that. And you can adjust it anyways during the approval process. I do recommend that if you are going to allow them to add, you have an approval process for your credits and activities. Then do you want to allow the members to select the level? So what category it goes into, or do you want to leave that to the administrator? 9% of the time, you can, again, change it on the approval. So less work. If you just allow them the access, they can normally determine if you have those levels clearly defined. And then do hours on multiple levels. So do you want them to attach to different ones? And then in the CE report list, all members in one row. This one is not typically used, as this was for a specific client, but we can go through the reporting and show you what that looks like. Then it's determining what do you want it labeled as. Are you going to use hours, or are you going to use credits? Because you can use either or within our system. So you have the ability to label it as one or the other. Then these are the fields that appear on the form for creating the activity in both the CRM and in the member portal if you are allowing members to create their own. So do you want the hours, the contact email, the sponsor? Some people have sponsors, some don't. So again, this may be something you turn on or off. Number of hours or number of credits, program name, contact phone number. So if you have to reach out to someone, start date is mandatory. Notes, what school was it from, location, end dates, was there any pre-accommodations, websites, leadership, or number of days. So all these you can either toggle on or off, because I know I don't need some of these. You can just reduce it. So keep it simple. Best practice is keep it simple. If you don't need it, turn it off. If you're not going to use it, turn it off, because it's just less noise for people. So just have what you need in the form. So I don't need location, contact, program name. They can just put in the title. I will get the information that way, and I'm going to hit update. So that is configuring the activities. We're also going to create the levels. So I already have a few in here. It's really easy to create them. You just come in, you hit create, you type it in, and you determine if you have a minimum or a maximum, or if you want to allow carry over. So carrying over is you might have a min or a max of 10 credits, but the person earns 20. So you may want to allow them to have 5 of those credits going into the next collection period in order to just not have to do those again. And that all depends on your policies and your procedures, but you do have the ability to roll over X number of credits or hours earned to the next collection period. So I'm actually just gonna hit back and go through one that I already created. So we're gonna do public speaking. So for this one, we did a minimum. So they have to do a minimum of 2 hours, because we're doing hours in this scenario. And you do by number or percentage. I always recommend doing numbers because it's a lot more clear for people than a percentage. But again, it's up to you and how you want that. And there's no max, and we're not going to do carry over for this one. Carry over though is really good, especially for quizzes or online material that you want to give leeway for the next collection period so that they do other activities. All right, so those are the 2 main configuration settings that you're going to set up. The other ones are for your emails. So these are something you absolutely want to review. You can enable or disable them depending on what you like, but you can come in and create reminder emails so that they go out depending on certain criteria. So they're based off of the collection period. So the time frame that an individual can earn the credits for a certification. So sometimes it's 1 year, sometimes it's 4 years, sometimes it's 10 years. So again, this completely depends on your collection period. And I'll show you how to set that up in the membership category after we're going through these settings. So these emails are based off of that collection end date, and it can be before or so many days after that they get these reminders. So I could set up that required credits is a day before or 30 days before, and they have to be able to earn all the credits before that. So I actually recommend that halfway through the year, you actually set up a before, like you haven't earned all your credits, you have X number of credits still to earn, and we do have merge tags for credits and the period length so that you can adjust that kind of as needed. You also can do payment. So if there's a payment required for them to get that collection period, or if they've met, like as soon as they've met the criteria, get an email out saying, hey, you've met these criteria, you're good to renew, because your renewal is also dependent on if you've earned enough credits, because our CE does attach that way. So just something to review. There are 3 templates here already. So one for payment required, one for credits required, and one for credits have been already completed. All right, so now let's jump into the membership, and I'll show you how to attach the configuration settings that we just did for the levels and for the activities into the membership. So it's set that when a member tries to renew, if they haven't earned their credits, they can't actually renew for that membership category. So we're going to go to membership category setup, and we're going to go to individual because this is the one that I have it pre-set up on. And on the left side here, we're going to see that has CEU tracker, which is the same as what we have it called under modules. And when you come in here, you are going to first enable it. And then you're going to set what the parameters are. So how many hours or credits do you need to earn to be certified? we have it set here as 5, it could be 10. I know some associations have longer windows of 4 years, so it might be 40, and so on. So it completely depends. You then can select a grace period to allow members the ability to report within the collection period what they've earned. So if my collection period was from January 1st, 2020 until December 31st, 2020, I then can have maybe 30 days to submit any activity I did during that collection period. So if it's outside that period, it won't count towards that collection period, and it won't go towards me being able to renew my membership. So typically, the best practice is to correlate your collection period with your membership renewals. So always do it on an annual basis. And whatever your grace period is for your membership, which is just typically 30 days, that is another best practice. Also have your collection period grace be the same thing. So just kind of make sure that whatever you're doing within your renewals as your grace period, you're also including in your continuing education if you want to allow it. You don't have to, you can keep it at 0. So they only have during the collection period in order to provide that information, although people forget, or they just, I thought I put it in there, but I didn't, and they're trying to renew. So giving them that opportunity is always best. Now, one thing you will see here is groups. So groups is a lot like levels. It's just another like level up. So if you need to categorize on top of your categories, you can do groups. Typically, no one uses this, to be honest. Everyone just uses levels. It's an option that is available. It's similar to levels. You can attach your levels to your groups and they can go into another kind of subcategory, but it's not necessary. So I always recommend just sticking with levels and having multiple levels for breaking down your activities. So you come in here and you would actually just simply check off the ones that you want to attach, because some might be for this designation, whereas other levels might be for another designation. You can always create a level directly in here. It's the same function as we did in the configuration. Then we have to create your collection period. So you simply click create collection period to get that started. And I'm just actually going to click on the one that we already made. And so this is for our certification. So I gave it a name. And then when do people apply to join? So typically, because a lot of associations will do this from when they first come to Member 365. However, you might be something that you do at any time. But I always recommend that if you have people that joined as a member way back, like that you have members since dates from the 80s or 70s, that you put it after a 1970 or 1980, so that they get added to the correct collection period. It will be for the current period, but you just want to make sure you don't exclude anybody that should be in there. And then what type of collection period is it? Is it on an anniversary basis or an annual basis? Whatever you have your membership set up as is what you should have your collection periods being set up as. I do always recommend, if you are doing CE, you have an annual membership and you have an annual collection period, so everybody's consistent. But it's completely up to you. This is set up on an annual basis for July 1st. Then we have a couple options. So you do have the ability to roll over activities that have not been collected. So there is the ability that if you have not completed the credits earned, those extra credits, so let's say you had to collect 10, you collected 5. The 5 remaining could then get rolled over to have to be completed in the next collection period. Now, this is a very uncommon practice, but we do have associations that do this. So again, really depends on your policies if this is going to be something you're going to do or not do, but definitely something to consider. Then also is if you are rolling them over, are you going to have the collection period automatically start when the old one ends. This is only needs to be turned on really if you are using your rollover. If you're not, the system, once they renew and are approved, a new collection period is automatically created for them to start that next collection period. This is mainly for if the renewal process doesn't really affect the CE, but they still need to earn the credits for the last period in order to renew. So again, depends on your policy and how you want to do that. I typically only use this when you're using the rollover for having to earn those extra credits. Then you need to select how long your collection period will last for. So it might be 1 year, go up to 10 years. Depends. Some associations have a small amount on a 1 year basis, so they have to earn them every year, where other people give them a longer time to earn those credits and they can just earn them all in the last 6 months if they want. Then we do have the option for a certificate. So you can create a certificate with underneath the module certificate tab and have it available. So when they've earned their credits, it can be assigned to them. And you can actually control what that is by the certificate options, which is the last options on this page. So you might never have a certificate. It can always be available. So long as they're in your system, they can see that designation unless they don't have the membership. So if they haven't renewed it, it's not going to be available for them for the next round. If they have an active membership and required credits, which is one I always recommend, finally, you can make it completely under your control so the admin can administer them at their own discretion. So lots of options for you. So we're just going to save this because we made some changes. And then we're going to go into a contact record and show you how to add an activity to an individual and how it looks like for the individual. So there's actually 2 ways to add in the CRM. The first way is through an individual record. So if I go to, I'm just going to bring up my reports. I'm going to go to active member. That is an individual. I'm going to bring mine up. And I'm going to go to my CEU tracker because that's what we have it labeled as. And right here, you can see my collection period. You can see what is required for me to earn. You can see my lifetime credits, and you can see my nifty chart here of all the things that I've currently done or not done at all. And then you can see all the activities that I've earned previously that were not associated to this collection period. So if it's not within this collection period, it won't appear. I can also see any previous collection periods where I have completed tasks. If you ever see an activity in here that isn't associated, and it should be, you can always edit your activities and put them into the correct collection period and change the date if needed. So if I needed to add it to this, say that this one got done this year and it should be in this collection period, I can then save it. When it refreshes, it will then add it within the correct time frame. This has 0 hours, which is why it's not showing up in this report, just so you're aware. And so if I do it for this next one as well, so we're gonna put it in. So it fits within this collection period. We're gonna refresh. There's 2 credits. 2 credits were added to this level. And now I went from having 5 required to now I only have 3 outstanding and 2 have been eligible and I've earned. So now I can add another activity by going here, and I can select one that's existing. So these are all predetermined credits that I have already uploaded into the system or added to the system previously. So you can select one here. I can say I did this yesterday. I can select the period it's for, add it, and then it adds to my CE period. That's one way you can add it. So the other way is creating it manually. To do that, you go up to your modules, your CE, you go to your manage activities, and here you can add from scratch an activity by simply giving it a name, little description, what levels it's associated to, number of hours, how many membership categories you can attach it to. So let's just actually put one in. So we're going to say that this was a network meeting. And I'm just going to use the same name as my description. You can make this fancier if you like. We're going to say that it is for anything goes. It's a 2-hour meeting, individual membership. It was on 1st. And I'm going to say that it's going to be allowed to be displayed in the member portal. So it's going to be part of that list of predetermined activities that are approved. It's going to be able to show on their transcripts. So there is the option for people's transcripts that they can print out like a certificate. And I'm going to approve it. And then I'm going to save the activity. And so now it's an activity within the list that I can now add to an individual. So if I go to the member portal, I can also add it as a member. So you can always impersonate someone, or they can do it themselves. So I can add it here. I can add it from a predetermined list in the contact record, or I can go to the portal and add it the same way as I did. So here is the CEU tracker. So my dashboard looks a little bit different in the member portal. It can be relabeled. Again, that is something that we can help you with. So I go here, and I go to activities. I can see all my activities. Again, I can see my collection period, earned. Same, looks the same as it does in the member portal. I can then go to add activities. I can see the predetermined ones that are approved. So I can see the networking one that I just added, and I can add that one if I wanted. So I could say, yep, I did that. I was there on the first. If you have or require the option for them to provide a certificate or document, there is the option for that here. They can simply hit confirm, and it gets added automatically to their list. So now there's 4. Or anything goes, there's 2 because I added that to that specific level. The members can also come in and create an activity from scratch as well. So again, this is why those predetermined fields that you want visible, like keep it simple, do it minimally. You can remove it so that they can't add number of hours or the levels that you do that during the approval process. It's up to you, but they would fill out the same form. They can provide a document if it's required, and they can submit it, and then you get an approval on your dashboard. So in the CRM, under the alerts, there's an option there for approval activities, pending approval activities. So that is for the CE for adding. And so we showed you how to do that as a member. One thing that I will also show you are the 2 reports. So there is, the pending activities, there is those options in here, and there is that report as well. I just want to mention that too. So activities pending approval, there is a report for it. So you can go in and see what activities are requiring you to, you can either just approve here or click on it, view details, and be able to approve it. But the 2 reports that I really want to point out is the hours reports. So this is for when you need to see who is in which collection period, for which membership, how many credits they have, how many they need to earn, kind of anything along those lines. So right now, I'm the only person with a certification in this membership category. I have 2 collection periods. I did not meet my first one, and I have now met the total required credits for my second collection period. So I am eligible now to renew. I could filter. So incomplete, completed, this one is complete. You can go by the collection periods that are available, the membership status, category that's associated to it, and then any issued conditions for that. And then you can send a certificate if you have the option that it is for the administrators to send it out. You can also send emails based off of these filters to these individuals. So if you want to not use the reminder emails that we have, you could make them custom here by just setting your filters and then sending an email. You can also export this at any time. So that's the hours and credits report. Then we also have the activity report. So this breaks it down for how many people have participated in that specific activity. This is a really great report. So I can see that for the HIPPA training, there were 5 people that participated. When I click on it, I can actually see who those people were, depending on their status. So each of these you have the ability to see. Now, right now it says that only the one member, but I may have taken that activity 3 times at different time frames. So that is something to consider. It says it was taken 3 times, but it was only one person. It's because I probably have that on my certification chart 3 times, which is why the numbers are a little bit different. So those are the reports. And so then we have done the configuration. We've attached it to a membership. We have also gone through the process of adding it in the member portal, as well as an administrator, how you can do it from scratch, how you can do it from the list, predetermined list. You can also see the reports within here for the activities themselves or the individuals, and your pending approval options for that. So then let's jump back over to our slides and we're going to go through some best practices. So first best practice is, again, keep it simple. If you don't need it, don't use it. If you don't need levels, don't use them. If you don't need all the questions on the form for acquiring an activity, keep it simple, reduce them to as much as possible. Try not to overcomplicate your collections. If you can make it for shorter windows or larger windows and not need so many maximums or minimums, again, you have to do what's within your best practices internally, your policies, but just try to keep it as simple as possible for your members. Always a great thing to do is have it in writing. You can put it in a workspace so that people can refer to it as an option. Then use levels to encourage variety. So if you are going to use levels, it's really good to ensure that they're not just doing one thing. They're not just watching videos and getting all their hours watching videos. They're doing videos and they're doing quizzes and they're doing networking and they're doing a variety of different things to get their certification. So levels are a great way to do that. Always encourage it. And then finally is keep your collection period consistent with your renewal period. So whether if you're doing an annual membership, you have an annual collection period, match them up so that they coincide together, because having a collection period not match makes it a little difficult. Then you have to have a larger grace period for the collection period to meet with your renewal date and vice versa, because people are not going to remember to update their credits if they're not having to renew. It's just not on top of mind. So make sure that you are correlating that and that your collection period for your certification coincides with your renewal date. All right, so I always love to end these with some helpful resources. So we do have instructional videos that you can access right from your dashboard. So if I actually go back to Member 365, on the dashboard, there is this help center. So you can have access to instructional videos. We have the ability for you to access a great knowledge base. If at any time you have questions and it's outside business hours, you can submit a ticket. We answer it by the next business day. You can have chat at the very bottom of the screen. There is a chat function during business hours. And finally, above and beyond that, if you need help and you have a bunch of one-on-one questions and you're setting up an event or you're setting up your CE and you need help with it, book a call with us. You have the option to book a call if it's available for you. So those are some resources that you can use. We are always wanting to help you, so please reach out if you need it. But other than that, thank you very much for joining us for our webinar on continuing education, and we'll see you next time.